Welcome, everybody, to the June 13th, 2024 City Planning Commission meeting. So we'd like to start with a Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Mann has agreed to give it to us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that. And as far as the roll call, we have 4 of our 7 commissioners here. Commissioners Ryan, Hill, and Sprossy Burns have been excused, so we barely have a quorum, so good thing. All right, and then now's the time for, time has been set aside for public input. We welcome any person to express ideas, concerns, comments, questions, or issues that are not listed as a public hearing on the agenda. I'd like to limit your comments to 3 minutes, if you would. Yeah, please come up to the podium, and let me...
David Funk. I just have noticed recently a lot of information coming from the PUD, not PUD, the UDOT, about Pioneer Crossing going through our city. And I just wonder if the city is taking that into consideration as well as the Planning Commission and all that they're doing, because UDOT will run over you if you're not prepared for it. I just wanted to know if that's being taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Okay, it looks like there aren't, so we will close public comment. And Sarah, would you like to comment on that, or is that yeah, on the question? Oh.
The city does have monthly meetings with UDOT and MAG, Mountain Association of Governments, to discuss transportation priorities. We're part of Region 3 in regards to UDOT, and then, we do regional planning with Mountain Land Associations of Governments, and we do have a planning staff member that attends the MPO meetings, which is, sorry, I don't remember what MPO is, but it's planning, right? So it's planning infrastructure. And then we've also been having recent meetings with UTA to talk about the possibility of additional bus routes in our future, and how we can get more people over to the tracks lines and things like that. The funding that was approved by to do road improvements recently. So right now 2100 has 2 frontage roads. The middle section of Mountain View Corridor will be put in, and then they're working on the connection from basically the north end of Saratoga, which crosses over into Lehigh and over to Bluffdale. So they're working on connecting Mountain View Corridor from Porter Rockwell to 2100, paralleling, to cross through Camp Williams. And then UDOT funding has been approved to change 2 lanes in the middle of Pioneer Crossing to flex lanes, so that in the morning those lanes can be used to go out, and then in the evening they can be used to go in. So, and all of that is really exciting. A year ago we were told there was no funding at all, and so we are actually thrilled that there's no funding, and that there are projects that will be helping this area. In addition, Mountain View Corridor going further south. So right now, it goes to Lariat, which is above the Jacobs Ranch development. So you can take Mountain View Corridor all the way to Lariat or Jacobs Ranch right now. And there's currently a study to take it further. But then the first step is the study, and then they have to work on funding. So we are hoping that in the future, we can't guarantee a timeline that will continue to go south.
Okay, and then because of the question about Pioneer Crossing, and you said the funding is available, do you know what the timeline is right now for that expansion or converting the 2 lanes?
I've heard that it's 2 years, and I think that's to start. I think it will start. Have you heard, do you know, Kyle? So, yeah. I don't know if that's start or finish, but the 2025, 2026. So it's probably a full year project to do that.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. All right, so I did see a hand up there, but I'm sorry, the public meeting, we've already closed it. So maybe you could talk with the planning staff when you have a moment. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with the business items. The first on the agenda is the Holiday Oil Ring Road Site Plan and Preliminary Plat located at 2007 South Redwood Road. Brent Neal as the applicant, and Austin, you'll be presenting for us.
Yes, thank you. Okay, all right, so this is the Holiday Oil Site Plan and Preliminary. You can see the location here. It's just east of Ring Road, off of Redwood Road, and north of the Maverick there. So that's the location. The site plan, they are proposing a convenience store, a car wash, and then in addition, the gas pumps itself. Also worth noting, this Holiday Oil location would have a drive-through, which is, I believe it's the first one that they've done like that. The site plan does meet all of our requirements, has adequate parking. Here's the plat that is also coming to you for approval tonight. There is an access further north. It's on the neighboring property, so it's not actually on their property, but it's on the property adjacent. But they do have an access easement off of Redwood Road from there, and then also they have the the Ring Road access as well. This is their landscaping plan. It does meet all of our landscaping standards in our ordinance. They provided some elevations for the building. It looks, if you've seen a Holiday gas station, you're probably very familiar with what it looks like. It looks like some of the more recent ones, like the other one that we have further north on Redwood Road. Here's the gas pumps and the car wash in the back. And there's some colored elevations. And so staff does recommend approval of this. It does meet all of our requirements. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to make note of. So in the staff report there was an error on page 3. It said that the lighting does not comply. That was an error. It actually does comply, so sorry for that.
Okay, thank you for that. Is that tied to any conditions that we have to worry about?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Was that tied to any conditions that we have to worry about?
No, no, it's not.
Okay, thank you for that. Is the applicant here? Would you come up to, we have a mic for you right there. And that one is.
Yeah, hello, my name is Brent Neal, and I'm with Holiday Oil. And I've emailed Austin many times. The first time I've seen him, or else I would have introduced myself. So, yeah, but we're excited to have our second location here in Saratoga Springs. The first one we opened up about a year and a half ago on Redwood Road is doing really well, and we're excited to keep growing our footprint here in Saratoga. But I'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. All right, since this is a public meeting, we don't have any, we don't open it up to public comments. So I'm willing to take comments from the commission. Okay, looks like we don't have any comments right now, so I have one, so I will ask my question. This is it's an administrative process, so I always just ask the applicant, are you willing to comply with all the conditions in the city staff report?
Correct, yeah. We'll
Okay.
continue to work with Kyle, the engineer, and Austin in planning to make sure everything complies.
Terrific. And thank you also for a really clean application, too. It really makes our job a lot easier, too. I did have a question on the, I'm not sure what, it's page 8 in the packet, but It's actually number 16 in the engineering report. So it's the second page of the engineering report. And it says here, see below for traffic study results. And then it says here that the mitigations for poor level of service, LOS, with project say none needed because, quote, the traffic will reroute to avoid delays. But given that there's only this one street crossing, I think, into Ring Road from Redwood Road in the location, what's the expected reroute to mitigate those,
Are you talking about the reroute that is on 20,000 or 2015 South?
well, I'm not sure, because it just says that there's no mitigation needed for the poor level of service once the project is built, because the traffic will reroute, and it doesn't say anything else. And that's why I was wondering what was expected for the reroute.
I'm not entirely sure. That was done by our traffic engineer.
Yeah, that's in the traffic study that I believe that they submitted. And so that you see in the engineering report, there is a screenshot from that traffic study.
So, I mean, as far as reroute, I mean, there's the access on 2015 South. That's a right in, right out because of the landscape barrier on there. We're also putting in this drive that's going to be a second outlet to Ring Road. I don't know if you see the site plan.
Sarah, could you show a picture that we have an idea of what you...
I don't know. Or would it be better to show it on city map, I wonder?
Yeah, because then we could see...
So we're going to improve Ring Road up until that access on our north property line. So we will do sidewalk on our side and then back a curb, I believe, across the street. So we will improve that portion of Ring Road that will tie us down to that drive along the north property line that will connect down to that cross-access easement that ties into Redwood Road. So that Redwood Road access has been approved by UDOT. We have a conditional access permit that UDOT did approve as of last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. All right, so you'll have direct access to Redwood Road, and then there's also Ring Road. Well, I don't know if it's Ring Road, but the access to Ring Road, that's further
To the north.
West, yeah.
Further northwest
North.
to our property.
So there's actually going to be at least
yeah.
two around your location.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so traffic could route to either of those entrances.
Yep.
Okay, so with that reroute, would whoever did this traffic study, would they say that would alleviate the poor LOS then? Okay, all right, well, thank you for clarifying that then. I don't think I have anything else. Okay, that's it from me. If there aren't any other questions, then you're good? Okay. All right, if there aren't any other questions, then I'm ready for a motion. Oh, sorry, I should open everybody.
Hey, thank you. I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested site plan and preliminary plat for the Holiday Oil Ring Road located at 2003 South Redwood Road with the finding and conditions in the staff report.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we got a second from Commissioner Mann. Any questions to the motion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to the next business item. That's for the Northern Frontier Business Park Lot 4 site plan located at 2238 North Waywood Road. Josh Moffett as applicant.
That. I'm gonna do it from here, and then we're gonna do the format just a little different. I'll have the staff report up. So I'll go through the exhibits in the staff report. You can see the general location here. It's on the north end of the city, on the east side of Redwood Road, just past the, there's a storage unit, and then an auto store, and then a rental equipment, and then it switches past that. I'll skip through the checklist, but if you have any questions, we can go back to that. And then, sorry, it's going a little slow now. Okay, here you go. This is the proposed site plan. You can see that there's a building in the middle of the site. This is a little bit lower in elevation than Redwood Road. And then they do not have direct access. They'll have to use a road to the side, and then they'll come in. They'll have parking in the front and the back. They do have some bays in the back of the building for loading docks. And then here is the proposed landscape plan, and here are it's coming up here, the proposed elevations. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those questions.
All right, thank you. And is the applicant here? If you could come up. And please state your name and your address, please.
So the applicant is Josh Moffett, but I'm Austin Cooper, representing, work for JDH Development, who's the developer on this.
Okay, thank you. And do you have anything to add to the presentation?
No, I think that was good.
Okay, thanks for that. I guess I will open up to the commissioners for any questions or comments. Okay, doesn't look like we have any from commissioners at this moment. I just had one question on one of the, my iPad keeps freezing, so I'm trying to find, there's some red lines and red bubbles on one of the graphs. And I was just wondering if there were any issues considered or any issues anticipated, because I didn't know what the bubbles were.
No, we actually, when we give red lines, we ask them that when they resubmit, they cloud their changes. So that's actually for us to be able to more quickly check what has changed.
Okay. Well, and thank you for, again, a clean application as well.
No problem.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, so I'm open to accepting a motion. Oh, again, everybody, I gotta turn this on. Oh.
Okay, I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the City Council of the proposed Northern Frontier Business Park, Lot 4, site plan located at 2238 North Redwood Road with the findings and conditions of the staff report.
All right, thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Magnan. Thank you. Any questions to the motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Terrific. It passes unanimously. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so the next business item is the approval of minutes for the May 30th, 2024 Planning Commission. Are there any comments or any notes that need to be brought up?
Yes, we need to let you know that the staff report that was put in the packet was incomplete. I'm not sure what happened there. Sam Stout, our planner, who is not here tonight, submitted that, but I think it may have been a different version that didn't include the exhibits. So Wendy, I believe, has sent you an email just like within the last 10, 15 minutes, or? I'm sorry.
Strike.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead along with
All
the
right.
minutes.
And then we'll finish up with the minutes and then. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm open to a motion to adopt the minutes. Again.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt the minutes from Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Planning Commission meeting minutes for approval.
All right. We have a motion. Any second?
I'll second that.
Got second from Commissioner Weldon. All right. Any questions to the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so the minutes are adopted. All right. Now we will move to the public hearings section. And Director Kim, would you like to make your comments?
Okay.
Okay.
Now I believe we're on the right location. Yeah, so Sam Stout, planner, he's the one who ran this application and prepared the staff report. Fortunately, we did not have the exhibits included in the packet of the staff report you got. Hopefully you were able to see or pull up the email that was just sent to you with the full exhibits attached to the staff report. I know you haven't had time to look at those, but we can answer any questions you may have. So this application is, and I believe, I'm not sure if the applicant is here. Manny? Okay. You're welcome to come on up. Okay.
Oh, let me, is this for the, this is for the IAD, and let me just introduce the topic then. Yeah, because I haven't done that yet. All right, so we're moving to the public hearings. Now, the first topic is the amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 19.20, Internal Accessory Dwelling Units, IADU, map amendment for Arcadia Springs subdivision plats A and B. Madison Osler as the applicant. Again, sorry, go ahead.
All right, I guess I'm really eager. I'm just jumping forward ahead of your program there, so. All right, so the maps on the screen show the location of Arcadia Springs, so there's actually two plats that are included in this neighborhood, plats A and B. They total 63 lots. They're in the location of just north of Crossroads and west of the Walmart area. So they are an HOA neighborhood, and so they have gone forward with the request to be reviewed and approved by their HOA, which the minutes are attached in the exhibits. Hopefully you have now received. So recommending, the HOA recommends for approval here. So that is the requirement of code, which is listed in your staff report. And this is a copy of the map, the IADU map for the entire city. The red areas are those that have been identified as not permissible for IADU. So the very small area that is pointed out there, let's see, I guess we didn't, yeah, okay, so that shows the area a little closer on the one and very close on the other. So again, these have been initially identified as not permitted, but the request is to permit this neighborhood, these 63 lots. And they have included an impact statement in the exhibits, which identifies that there are approximately 11 homes or neighbors that have expressed desire to potentially have an IADU. So they've identified some that the negative impacts would be quite small, and between a total potential of adding 30 to 35 would actually IADUs could happen with 2 to 4 additional occupants, including 1 to 2 cars per house. They express that the roads are sufficiently wide and that does not seem to have a negative impact on the neighborhood. That's their review on the air impact statement. So with that, if you have any questions in regards to this, it will be a recommendation to City Council, and we'll take it forward to them.
Okay, thank you for that. And you're the applicant?
Yes.
Could you state your name and your address?
Yeah, it's Madison Osler, 1532 North Arcadia Drive.
Okay, would you like to add any comments to the presentation?
No.
Any additions? Okay. Now, this is a public hearing, so we're going to open it up to the public for any comments. If you'd like to comment on this particular topic, please come up to the podium. Okay, given that there aren't any comments or any public, looks like there aren't any comments, so we'll close the public hearing. And at this point, I'll open it up to the commissioners. Commissioner Wilden?
Yeah, just was wondering if there were any neighbors that did express concern or had issues with this.
Not that we have identified in the application or the minutes from their HOA, but perhaps we can ask the applicant.
Yeah, so the builder was Arrive, And Arrive had actually told all of the neighborhood when we chose our lots that they were all approved for IADUs or that the application was in. And so a lot of people built because of that. Our map was approved a few months before the automatic approval. And so the neighborhoods surrounding ours are actually all approved. It's just Arrive never followed through with the application.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Wilden. Anybody else? No? Oh, okay. Commissioner Magnum.
I actually appreciate the fact that you took the time to do this. It's great. There's a lot of us out there that would love the ability to rent our basement, so it's glad that you've taken the initiative, and it's a very clean approach. I don't have any question or comments. I just want to say good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mangum. Anyone else? Okay, I actually didn't have a question, but now I do. And this is not about the application itself, just in general. I think we talked about this before, but I don't remember. So if there's a new community and there are already, several people living in that community, and then they follow the code and they request an IADU, let's say it was not permitted and they want to get it permitted. And the majority or the requisite number of existing home owners want it, so everything's fine. But what if the community is actually a lot bigger and those homes just haven't been built yet, and then it turns out later on the majority don't want it? So can that be reversed? Or but they've already, the folks who are already there may have already built the IADUs. So I'm just wondering how we're supposed to.
Yeah, so for the most part, the newer neighborhoods or newer plats that are being approved after October 2021 by state law must provide or must permit IADUs. So all of newer from now on, this will be a non-issue.
That's right.
However, there are some development areas such as Mount Saratoga, a few other places that had plats approved prior to that effective date. And so there are some kind of split neighborhoods in that area and a few other areas of the city where the neighborhood or the plat area of those neighborhoods, if the people would want to submit an application, they could either do it by petition if they're non-HOA or through the board of the HOA to do the same thing that has been done here tonight.
Okay, that's right. I totally forgot that the default now is that you can have an IADU. It's just that prior to that time, we had identified certain areas in the city that don't, but those are more developed than the newer areas, and so we have a pretty good idea of which residents would want to do it and don't want to do it. I mean, if they said that they want to do it. Okay, then I totally forgot about the fact that it's by default we do allow it now. All right, well, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. Commissioner Mangum?
Yeah, I had heard for years that my neighborhood was not allowing this, and it looks on the map that's correct. What is maybe this is just a question for myself, the consequence if somebody is renting out their basement and a neighbor complains?
Well, we are aware that there are several or many out there that are not registered with the city. We don't always know where exactly, and we don't have any IADU police going around, so we're not actually looking for them.
Yeah.
But we will respond to complaints that usually are based on too many cars or too much noise or something else happening on the property that seems to be egregious. Then we will follow up with that. It would be a code enforcement action that we would take. We'd give them a notice of violation, and then they will have to correct it, or ultimately they might go to court. But again, we're not out there actively looking for them, but we will respond if needed.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion.
Okay, so I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the requested IADU map amendment for Arcadia Springs Plat A and B, located northwest of the 1400 North and Crossroad Boulevard intersections, with the findings and conditions of the staff report.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we got a second from, turns out Commissioner Mann?
Yes.
All right, any questions to the motion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any against? All right, thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to the next item, a public hearing item. This is the Saratoga Springs Commercial Plat G General Plan Land Use Map Amendment from Business Park to Regional Commercial and rezone from agriculture to regional commercial and multifamily 18 and accompanying concept plan located at approximately 400 West and Crossroads Boulevard. Dan Schmidt as applicant. And you'll be, okay, and you'll
Yes.
be presenting.
I'll be presenting in behalf of Gina Grand Prix, who's the planner who's worked on this application. I believe is the applicant here, Dan Smith. You're welcome to come forward. Okay, so we'll go right to the map. The location here is on Crossroads Boulevard as it meets up with Pioneer. In that area is located on the map. And it's 43.32 acres. And it is a mixed-use area. They are looking at amending both the general plan designation of this property as well as the zoning. However, it's not extremely different from what was originally planned. It's kind of realigning some lines with the proposed development, as I will show here. So currently, the zoning is agriculture, so we don't have anything else proposed there at this time. However, the rezone would request that a portion of it be rezoned to multifamily 18, which permits 18 units per acre, and the other area, the lighter green shown there, is rezoned to regional commercial. The general plan has this configuration for the use of the property. The red in the area there is the regional commercial. The orangish brown on the bottom is the high density, which would permit the MF18 zone. And then in the middle is business park. So there is, this would be a difference from what the general plan was laying out. Instead of business park, they would like that approximate acreage to go to regional commercial. And then the configuration as shown earlier is going to change a bit as far as where exactly those boundaries are, but the acreages between regional commercial or business plus business park are about the same, and the multifamily is about the same. It's just we're redrawing the lines a bit. Okay, so this map shows the proposed general plan changes there. So it's showing a lot on there, but you can see in the light blue and the tan area, there's some cross hatching. And that would be the area that was other proposed zoning, but now, or land use, but now is proposed to go to regional commercial. Then the darker brownish blue and the brown shows what is being requested to go to high density. So I don't know if that's as clear as mud, but any questions, please let me know. This is the concept plan for the area. So that was kind of showing on those other maps a little bit, but it shows along Crossroads Boulevard a lot of smaller retail, regional, commercial buildings that would be planned along the roadway. Then back on the east side in the interior is a large retail big box that is being looked at as part of this development. And then there in the middle would be the multifamily. So that is the concept plan. There is a development agreement underway to provide for certain things as far as accesses and the trail alignment that goes through there, which will mostly follow the canal, and some other things that we are proposing to be covered, and that will be presented to the City Council with this proposed concept. Here, just zoning comparison of the different types of uses. If there's questions, we can review those. And I'll just leave it for your, any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. And the applicants up here, could you please state your name and your address?
Yeah, I'm with, my name's Daniel Schmidt with WPI. Our office is in Highland, 5457 West, 11,000 East, Suite 200.
All right, thank you. Would you like to add any comments to the presentation or anything?
No specific comments, but happy to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing, so I'll open up to the public. If you have any comments, please come up to the podium, and then if you could, limit your comments to 3 minutes, if you would. Okay, given that there's no public comment, I'd like to close the public hearing and open it up to questions from the commissioners. Commissioner Walden?
Yeah, I had two questions. I think you already answered one of them, but I just wanted to make sure that I did this. The change will not impact the overall density of the area, meaning there's some moving around, but will there be an ability to build a higher density than there was before?
No, it's the same density. So multifamily or MF18, as I mentioned earlier, allows for 18 units to the acre. That is one of the zones that is provided for under the high density. It's either MF14 or MF18. And so this zoning is appropriate for the area, really just changing the boundaries of where we were planning it.
Thank you. The other question is, as I looked at the map beforehand, trying to look at, are there neighborhoods that might be impacted or concerned about this change? There's no one here tonight to talk about it. Just wondering if there is.
Yeah, you've got the Tractor Supply and the State Liquor Store to the east of that property, and some other commercial units on Crossroads Boulevard. South of the property is currently vacant. And it's got various, I believe it's commercial uses on that, so. Medical, that's right. That's right. And then, of course, across the street, you've got some residential and business park across the street as well.
Okay, and they were notified and there's.
Yes,
no
300-foot notification.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners with questions or comments? Okay, I have a couple. On page 5 of the staff report, under it's paragraph number 2. It says that the proposed change will not decrease or otherwise adversely affect the health, safety, convenience, morals, or general welfare of the public. And then the staff finding says up for discussion. So is that a discussion that you've already had, or is that a discussion that we're supposed to have?
We're just saying we don't have a strong recommendation from staff, so we're letting you make that determination.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I don't know. What do we think?
I think that those that would be most impacted were notified of the public hearing and no one is here. Had there been some concerns brought, then I think we should further this discussion.
Good point. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, so looks like that's not really too big an issue. And then on the next page, we have a couple others that are similar. Paragraph 4, when balancing the interests of the petitioner with the interests of the public, community interests will be better served by making the proposed change. And again, staff finding up for discussion. I guess based on what we've heard, it wouldn't hurt because the density actually doesn't change. But I do have a question though. What about any idea of whether traffic patterns would change by making that, by turning it all into commercial in that area? Or
okay, so there are 4 different access points. Got a main road coming down, or access road coming down between the big box and the remainder of the property to the west. And then you've got three other accesses that will come into that commercial property, lining up on the one point with 400 north, 1400 north, which is a proposed light location. So traffic has been looked at, and it does, so far the concept does line up with our transportation master plan.
Great, thank you. All right. And then one other one on the same page. Where was it? Oh, yeah, that was actually further up. 19.04.09 states the purpose of each zone. The purpose of the RC and MF 18 zones are included below. The Planning Commission should evaluate this information and make a recommendation to the council. So it says that that's up for discussion, but I think that kind of ties in with the other ones that we've talked about. And I don't feel that there's any concerns. I don't know if anyone else does. Anybody? Okay.
If I may, I'll just point
Yes.
out what could be a question at some point. In the current future land use map of the general plan, it does identify that center area as business park. So that is not regional commercial in that area. The proposal is to eliminate business park from this property and make it all of that area, or what the balance of what that is reconfigured to be regional commercial. So the question could come up, are we really wanting to lose the business park designation or potential zoning of that property in favor of regional commercial? Something that we might want to consider, however, when we've looked at the overall balance of business parks that are being planned, there's a new business park area that's being planned as part of the downtown area, which is just west of here on the northern end of that triangle of the downtown area. Some business park has been identified there, which previously was not a part of the general plan. Then you've also got just immediately across the street on Crossroads, an area designated for a business park. And then you've got between Highway 73 and Mountain View corridor on the northwest corner there, part of Wildflower is also designated for business parks. So on a staff perspective, we feel like there's sufficient business park areas in this vicinity. So we haven't found a great concern with that situation.
Okay, thank you for that as well. And that was actually my last question. It had to do with the business park. So you've answered the question about whether we have sufficient business parks planned for other areas or for throughout the city. So that's great that we've got that. And losing this doesn't necessarily impact us negatively because we have others. But as far as this location, though, was the initial intent of the city to have a business park as a buffer to transition the higher RC density from the residential area? Or, I mean, and by losing that, would it, how would it impact the initial intent of having that as a business park?
Well, I suppose that could be considered a buffer of sorts. It wouldn't be a tremendous buffer, such as, going from higher density residential to lower or whatever. So there's still a commercial nature of the whole development, whether it's business park or regional, even though regional can have more intensity there. However, it's the one thing that's been looked at from an economic development perspective is this particular area with the other businesses in the area, Home Depot, Walmart, that this is a prime area for that kind of future development. So even though we may have identified it previously as business park, the demand for more regional commercial land is stronger than business park.
Especially in that part of the city, too. Yeah. Further south, yeah. Okay, that's all my questions. Anything else? Okay. Oh, yeah, I could just look that up.
Please forgive me if this is elementary, but I was wondering why it is agricultural and business park at the same time. How do you?
Oh, okay. So this is the future land use map. This is
future.
The general plan. It's our guide for future zoning.
That makes sense.
Currently, the zoning is just agriculture. Well, where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all agriculture. It just has not been zoned otherwise. A lot of times agricultural zone is used as a holding zone until we have an applicant or another plan to use it for something else.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, everyone good? All right, then I'm would like to entertain I keep turning these off. Entertain a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval to the City Council for the requested general plan amendment and rezone for Saratoga Springs Commercial Plat G located at approximately Crossroads Boulevard and Pioneer Crossing with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We got a second from Commissioner Mangum. Any questions to the motion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're not an hour yet, so I don't think we need to take a break just yet. Okay, let's move to the next public hearing item. This is the amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 19.27, Addressing and Street Naming. It's city initiated. And,
Also on behalf of Gina Graham,
okay,
who's not able to be here this evening. She did quite a work with this, several months with a team of city employees from different departments, our GIS team, Public Works, Fire and Police, and planners, to come up with much-needed changes. We have several rear-loaded product in the city, which we haven't had before, and that's been a challenge in terms of how to address that and what side of the building to put the numbers on. And then there's also been other areas that needed to be addressed. So this code amendment has been in the works for several months, and we're happy to bring it to you and answer any questions that you might have. I'll go to the red line version. I'll make this bigger. So we are just interested on our end in making these clarifications to make it easier for staff and also for developers so that it's clear what the expectation is. We want to prevent duplicate numbering, duplicate street names, phonetic duplications, and then we also want to talk about, if somebody does want to change a street name, we wouldn't allow duplicates, and then they would be responsible for the application and any postage or any affidavits that had to be recorded. Any fees associated with that would be the responsibility of somebody who's requesting that change. And then there's also a related cost if you change a street number. So we've changed the provision for that just to explain that they would include the recording and postage costs for those changes. And then change existing property numbering. So again, there would be an application fee, recording fees, and postage fees if that change is approved. And property owners who file, again, a lot of this is that they'll pay the fee. Basically, they cover those costs of recording and mailing notices. And as we go further down, we have street designators, Boulevard, Drive, Road, Street, but the only one we're changed to is Boulevard, and we're specifying that that would be used on arterials and collectors, and then you wouldn't see that on other street types. And then we also have some street sign standards. Our engineering department already has specifications in the technical standards, and we're just stating here that those need to be followed. Just in case there's any questions, for somebody who's looking at this, that it's clear where they can go to find that information in terms of, we have blue street signs for the city. Anyway, our private street signs are a different color than our public street signs, blue and green, and so that standard is in there as well. And then there's also a certain number of letters that will fit on our street signs, and that's also in here as well. We were not allowing addresses like homes to have a 0 or a 5, but because of so many townhomes and lots that maybe aren't, 100 or 80 feet wide or something like that, we're running out of numbers. So we actually want to use those numbers. However, those will still be designated for streets. Streets will end with 0s and 5s. But now homes or townhomes or condos can also end with 0s or 5s. And then, where possible, we just need, odd on the south and west sides of the street, and then north and east side. That is our typical. However, once in a while, there's a situation where it just doesn't make sense, and that's where we put where possible, just to allow us flexibility when we're assigning addressing. And then we talked about how do you address and IADU, and then ADUs and stacked multifamily and dwellings above commercial. And as we get into that further, we have some criteria now on how to address that. We were running into problems, say you have a condominium building, we were running into problems where if they each have an individual number, like 1236, 1238, 1240, that we ran out of numbers. And so now we're asking that the building have a number and that each unit be A, B, C, D, or something like that. So then we'll have enough numbers to address them appropriately. And that's I jumped ahead a little bit of where I was scrolling. So that's outlined here. That's new language that we've added. And then we've also added language about when a product is facing a street, but the driveway is on the back, or facing open space, but the front door is on the open space, but the garage is on the back. So we've added language about where the address, how it should be addressed, and what side of the building it should be on. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you for a thorough look at the amendment proposals. So this is a public hearing, so I'm going to open it up to the public to see if, to welcome you to make any comments regarding this topic. Okay, looks like we don't have any comments from the public, so we'll close public hearing, and I'll open up the to comments and questions to the commissioners. Commissioner Wilden.
Excellent job on this. This is a lot of work. Really appreciate that. Well done. Just a question, if you don't mind briefly describing the process. As I was going through this, there is a point in which the developer is making a request. And at what point is the developer involved? If the developer wants certain names, is that considered? If there's a certain theme for that neighborhood? As I went through, I wanted to make sure that wasn't excluded. Just thoughts?
It is included. The developer does, the process begins with them proposing the street names. And so if they do have a theme or something like that, and then we check for the duplications. They're supposed to check as well, but we definitely check for those duplications.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. Now, by the way, if someone's going to name a street after one of us, do we get notified so we're not a dead-end road?
That's a good question.
All right. Thank you.
Should be royalties involved.
That's all.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners' comments or questions? Okay, I have a couple. So in the case of IADUs then, because you mentioned that there's a process, or there's coding on that. Once, let's say it's approved, then does the homeowner then make a application to the city for addressing the IADU? What's the process involved in that?
They actually, so it would need a unit number, it'd be like whatever the address is, and then it'd be B or something like that. They reach out to the post office so that they can get that officially signed with the post office.
Oh, so they just do it themselves and they don't have to go through the city for that?
With the IDU, they do. Yeah, any other situation, they do it with us.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. And then just wondering, is it normal for cities to charge applicants to pay the fees?
It is normal.
Okay, and we just hadn't done it before, or it wasn't clear?
We just didn't have it clarified here. With all of our other applications that require mailings or recordings, the applicant pays those fees. We were just cleaning that up for this process.
Okay, so it's not like a new thing, and that they're used to that kind of doing that then
Right.
in other cities as well?
Right.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, thank you for that. If there aren't any other comments, then I will entertain a motion.
Let me press this. I'll go ahead and do that. The Planning Commission will recommend approval for the code amendment addressing and street naming, amending section 1927, based on the findings of the city employees for approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilden. Any questions to the motion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. I'd like to just keep going if no one needs to take a break. Okay, then we'll keep going. All right, then next item is number 4 on the public hearing list. It's the general plan amendments for various city-owned properties to to institutional/civic from various general plan uses and rezones for various city-owned properties to institutional/civic from various zones, city initiated. Yes, okay, here we go.
Let's see.
Oh, just turned it off.
All right. So I'll just give a little background here. A couple years ago, we brought a city-initiated application forward to change the zoning on Patriot Park and that whole area where the Civic Center is, the police, and now the new City Hall will be there. For the purposes of being able to build other city facilities in a park area, which also included temporary trailers for the recreation building or offices, we needed to have zoning that provided for that. The park or residential zoning, which a lot of parks have, did not provide for those. So we went ahead and rezoned Patriot Park to IC, or Institutional Civic, which is a zone that will allow for these types of facilities, but also park, anything kind of public nature. So as we looked at it afterwards, there was a question that came up when that was approved by City Council: should we do this on all of our parks? Well, it wasn't a priority rezone at that time, but it's floated to the top. So what we did is we looked at all of the city facilities and parks that we have that probably would benefit from this new zoning designation. Now, some of them already were general planned to be institutional, but were zoned or residential or some other, or park or some other zoning. So this doesn't specifically designate one property and this is the rezone and you approve that. We're kind of lumping them together. So I will go through those. You recall at the May 30th meeting, we had an item, a code amendment that looked at the institutional civic zoning and allowed for additional uses, ancillary commercial uses that we were adding into that zone. And you gave a recommendation to City Council for approval. That's going forward next week for them to look at and move on. But that was kind of identified as part of this process, so that these different facilities and parks, such as the marina or marinas that we will have, and other facilities, would be allowed to have additional public use that would benefit the public use. That's, you know, to have some of these types of things at public parks and such. So there are 6 different areas. This first one identifies 2 of those. We have the Public Works Facilities site, which is shown in the upper right-hand corner. Those properties associated with the Public Works Facility, 24.09 acres. Current zone is agriculture, and the proposed zone, of course, is institutional, civic. And then near that is an area of the RC Airplane Park, which is actually surrounded by institutional civic. But for some reason, the county property kind of surrounds that, and the county had already requested that they have it rezoned to IC because they are anticipating at some point. We thought it would have happened already, but that was put on hold, that they were going to build a facility in this area. So it just makes sense for all of this to be institutional civic. So you've got those 2 areas there. Then we're looking at the North Marina area. So on the bottom of the picture would be the approximate boundary of the lake. So that you can see up in the top left corner of the picture is where Saratoga Road swings up into 2300 North. So this big piece is the location of the North Marina, which we've already done some dredging, some preliminary development work out there, and that will become a project to be worked on during this next year. So 19.58 acres. The current zone is mixed residential. The land use designation